Well, Facebook, guess what time it is? It's time for the Ruby Girl Talk Show with your favorite Ruby Girl, Dr. K. And tonight, we're talking about money, honey. Look, I noticed this. Millionaires have no problem telling how much money they make, how much money they got in the bank. Oh, I made $1 million last week. Oh, I got $1 million in my pocket or whatever. But you ask us regular people, we won't even, when I'm on my bank app at church, I make sure nobody can see what I got in my bank account. So I want us to get to the point that we start to hear our money goals and we feel free and without shame to be able to say, this is what I got in my savings and this is what I have in my pocket. So I just really want to, I brought somebody here so we could just figure out how is it that millionaires share so freely, but unmillionaires, that's a new word, unmillionaires, we don't want nobody to know what our finances because there's some shame attached to our finances. Am I right, Coach Loretta?
Absolutely. You are reading my notes.
Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about this tonight. So if you're just tuning in, this is what I want you to do. I want you to share this. And for Coach Loretta, I want her to go on my page, share it on her page so that her people can watch it too. Because any money nuggets that she's dropping, anytime that she's dropping it, her people need to hear that. The more you hear about money, the more you learn about money. But a lot of times we don't want to learn about money. We just want to spend money. So before we even get into the show, because I was about to get started, let me back up. So once again, let me introduce Ruby Girl to you. If this is your first time hearing about Ruby Girl, sit back, get ready. So Ruby Girl comes from Proverbs 31 and 10. Who can find a virtuous woman for her price is far above the price of a ruby. So, ladies, I always say this special is for you. It makes you rare, virtuous, and most certainly valuable. So, the Ruby Girl platform is actually a platform to help women to be empowered. Somewhere along the line of us wanting to be liberated, wanting to be free and have our rights, we somehow lost some respect. So the Ruby Girl platform is restoring that respect. It's creating a tribe with the right vibe. So you can connect with us at rubygirl.net. And guess what? Every Thursday, I want you to come to my page because it's Ruby Girl Day. So I post some things that inspire you. And I recognize some of these amazing Ruby girls that I know. So rubygirl.net. All right. So we're talking to Coach Loretta Williams tonight. So hello, Coach Loretta. How are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. Are you ready for this ride tonight?
I am. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Because it's going to be a roller coaster ride. So for some people, you already like, I don't want to hear anything else about money. Let me tell you, money is a tool. The Bible said money is a defense. So why do you think a lot of these rich people get off? Because they're able to get the best lawyers, create the
Mhm.
best defense, and then sometimes, let's be honest, they can pay their way up out of something. But we as Christians, we use money as a defense against the wiles of the enemy and what the enemy is doing. But too many times, so many times, and so many people can relate, the enemy be hard on our finances because he know if we don't have money, we don't have the power and influence that we need. So we're gonna let Coach Loretta introduce herself. Go ahead, Coach Loretta.
Hi, everyone. To those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. And to those of you who do know me, let me reintroduce myself. I am Loretta Williams. I am a goal getter, a trendsetter, a debt defeater, a credit builder, an emergency savings fund advocate, a money goal coach. I am a mom on a mission to change the world by defeating poverty through education, resources, and guidance. I've been in the business of finance for over 10 years. I know it doesn't look like it. Um, but I've been in the industry for over a decade. Wow. I have a certification in financial planning for young adults, and I love what I do. I love helping people go from point A to point Z.
Love
Is
it.
it?
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't interrupt you, did I?
No, you're fine. You're
Okay.
fine.
Thank you for that powerful introduction. Could you do your little spiel one more time about debt and all that? I like that. I like when people come with the flair.
I am a goal getter, trend setter, debt defeater, credit builder, emergency savings fund advocate, money goal coach, and a mom on a mission to change the world
That
by
was
defeating poverty through
a
education.
that is an affirmation. That's an affirmation. You just said an affirmation that a lot of us need to be saying every morning. So let's get into the
Absolutely.
talk because as you see, I'm already wired up. I'm excited about it. Coach Loretta, can you share a bit about your background and what inspired you to become a financial coach? Coach, because I found out most people that go into finances, they somehow have a story that they just got to a breaking point where they said enough.
Oh gosh, this story. So again, if for those who are already following me, they may already know this story because I've told it before. But for me, it started when I was a kid, and we had the nickname in the community as the poor little rich kids. So exactly. um, we had businesses in our family, and we still do have businesses in our family. And so I've seen both sides of the spectrum. I've seen having a lot of money. I've been in situations where I've had a lot of money, and I've been in situations where I had no money. I was homeless at one point. Um, I had to go to food shelters at one point, and being on both ends of the spectrum, saying, hey, how can this be that we can have a lot and a little at the same time? And so that to me triggered something. And when I got older, I was like, okay, I know it's not just me. I'm talking to my friends, I'm talking to the people in the community, even as a kid. And I'm like, this is not just me. It's a lot of other people. They just don't really say anything. As kids, we say we talk. We say we don't have any fear, we don't have any shame. We don't have or much shame. We don't have much guilt. And so kids were talking, and I'm like, okay, but their parents are pretending. And so I wanted to attack that once I got older and I can actually do something about it. I went to school, I went to college, I got my master's degree in business. And then I went on to get different certifications in finance, and I'm still getting certifications in finance. And I wanted to make an impact. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not here for no reason. I know that I don't have this ability to organize things for no reason. And so, how can I implement my love and my passion for helping people, and my love and my passion for organizing, and my love and my passion for finance all into one? And this is what was birthed. So,
That is beautiful. I like your
yeah.
testimony. You say you've been on the have money and you've been on the homeless spectrum. And it seems
Hmm.
like it's really far. And people don't plan to be homeless. Homelessness can just happen to you. I've had a stint where I was homeless for a few weeks. Now this is a funny story. I was living with a friend and
Okay.
they went through toilet paper like crazy, right? So I would keep my own toilet paper downstairs. So one morning I went up to use the bathroom and they had the toilet tissue up there and I was like, this is mine, so I took it back downstairs. So the mother called me and she said, I can't believe you took the toilet tissue. She was going off. And I'm like, it's mine. And why you going off? So she said, well, once you leave my house, you're not welcome anymore. And I was like, well, if I'm not welcome then, I'm not welcome now. So I came home, gathered my little cat, gathered some of my belongings, and I stayed in a hotel until my apartment was ready. But you can see how you can become homeless over a little, it was toilet tissue,
And
you know?
something so small. I think that we get so comfortable in where we are in life, even if
Yes.
where we are isn't where we want to be. And we forget that it can happen to any one of us. If you get sick and you can't go back to work, um if you're depending on your spouse or significant other that you're living with and they leave, or whatever, it can happen easier and quicker than we realize.
Oh yeah,
So yeah.
I never thought because I've always worked two jobs. I had been, on my own forever. So I'm just here to tell you it can happen to anyone. And sometimes we look at homeless people and we just keep stepping. You don't know their story. Like you say, like they say, a lot of us is one paycheck away from being homeless. And you try to figure that out. Like, how can one paycheck just send me, miss one paycheck and see how you don't have enough money to pay your rent? You don't have enough money to pay your car note, and
Pay
then
your
you get
lights.
behind. Yes, and you never kind of like catch up because it's like once you're behind, it's an avalanche. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that story, for being transparent. This is something that since you have been a child that you have been passionate about. It's almost like a gift for you.
I feel like it is. I have this weird I don't want to call it an obsession, but I have this thing. I just love to organize things. And so I have in my mind, I have this gift. I feel like God gave me this gift where as my client is talking and they're telling me their story and they feel, hopeless and all of the things, God is like downloading things into my mind of this is what they need to do. And I can create a plan. I think I'm moving a little forward because that might be something we talk about later, but I create a plan right then and there on what steps you need to take next. So
Good. That goes into our
I
next
love it.
question. So, you flowing, you working with me, you making it real easy for me. So, what specific services do you offer and how do you tailor your coaching to meet individual client needs? Now, one more question. I also want you to tell us about books or planners, any tools that you have to help people get their finances together. Okay.
Which one do you want first?
You had started talking about how with your clients you start to formulate in your mind a plan for them, how you can help them. So tell us about your services and how you tailor each. Is each individual coaching package for that person, or do you have like a standard one that people kind of can fall in?
So how first of all, what I offer is I offer workshops. I do a lot of workshops with different organizations. And I also offer group coaching sessions. So I'll have like girlfriends that may get together and say, hey, instead of doing other things that we do, we want to get together and we want to handle and attack our finances together as a group to keep each other accountable. Um, so I offer group coaching sessions, whatever that looks like, if it's a family, if it's friends, if it's coworkers, whatever that looks like. And then I also offer one-on-one sessions. One-on-ones are my popular ones because it's just me and the other person, very private, and very detailed and tailored to that person. Every plan or every strategy that's put together is tailored specifically for that person. There's no one plan alike because everyone has individual goals that are different and different financial situations. I've had clients who, they come to me and they may not have a job, they may just have side hustles, and they're like, hey, how do I get from here to here? And then I've had clients who, and I can say this, but I've had clients who are diplomats and they've served for presidential elections, like on presidential elections for presidents. And they're like, I don't know how to manage what I have. So everyone is different. Every situation is unique and every plan is different. Every plan is different.
Okay. So speaking of that, you say you have
Hmm.
diplomats. I think we should not always assume that just because people have a lot of money, they know how to manage it. Because I think of lottery
Hmm.
winners all the time. I think they forget that what they have is not is no more flow into it. That's it. And you start to spend it
Right.
because you think it's such a abundance, but some about money shrinks real quick. Once you start just taking 20 here, 40 here, 100 here, and then you be like, what happened? I promise you. I look at my statement and I'm like, they're not adding this up right because how did I have 800 today, but I'm at 300 and I only did this purchases. And then as I'm adding, I'm like, they adding it right. But I was like, the math ain't mapping in my head because I ain't supposed to be down this much. So it doesn't matter how much money because the Bible talks about you should be you have to be a good steward basically
Stewart.
over small. People think the large will help them become a big steward, a good steward. And I tell people, if you can't manage dollars, you definitely can't manage millions. And I think for a lot of Christians is out there that God has called us to be millionaires, billionaires, God is waiting on us to be faithful over the small and learn how to manage money. Because if he give us $1 million, we're not going to do what he wants us to do with it. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. I tell people all the time, I said the difference between, because I handle so many people from different spectrums, right? The difference between, or not the difference, but the similarity between the diplomat and the person, Joe from around the block, is they both don't know how to manage what they have. It's really no difference. You have an engineer over here making a lot of money, and then you have this person over here who's just getting by off of side hustles. If you don't know how to manage it, it doesn't matter how much you have coming in, you're still going to end up with zero at the end if you're not
Yeah,
managing it properly. So yeah,
you're
I
right.
think it's very important for you to know how to manage the little things first, so that, again, going back to what you said, so that when you do get the million, when you do get the quarter million, the half million, that you are able to manage it in a way where it won't necessarily dwindle down, because you'll be wise enough to know, okay, I need to invest. I need to move this money so it's still making money. Okay, I don't want to jump the gun.
No, you good because when you were talking, I started thinking about something. When you say you got to manage the small, if you think about it,
Hmm.
we always start small in most everything. When you start driving, you don't just get in the car for the first time and drive out of state. You might just drive
That's
round and
right.
round in the parking lot. So you build up until you're able to drive far. When you start school, you don't start at the 12th grade, you start at the
The
first
first
grade.
grade.
So that's why with us, if you think about it, if you go all the way back to roots of everybody money, it was small at one point. Everybody start
100%.
every even families that had money for years, you go all the way back. Somebody was broke, started off with something small, and they became a good steward over it. And so we just think, I just need more money, more money. That's not always it. And I'm learning that myself because I keep thinking I need more money. I remember I was making $3.35 an hour. For some of y'all cannot fathom that. $3.35. You know how much my raise was? A
10 cent.
nickel, a nickel. I would have to take a
Ooh.
test to get my nickel. Let me tell you, I was so excited about getting a nickel. But guess what? I had my own place. I was shopping all the time. I didn't have any debt whatsoever. I was in a real good place. I was saving. I had less financial stress than I do now. And it's because I had wisdom with my money. But
Hmm.
somewhere along the way, Loretta, I lost that. I don't know what happened. How does that happen where you were a
let's
good steward and then you become me?
let's talk about it. So I've seen that happen a lot. Um, it happens because we get more money, right? People are like, "Oh, well, how is it that I was living better when I was broke than I was when I got money?" Well, you get more money, and what do you do when you get more money?
More bills?
You spend more money. You
Yes.
spend more money. You're like, "Oh, I have it. I can go on this trip. I can go shopping. I can go take my friends out for lunch. I want to try this new restaurant." Then you get more bills because you want a nicer car. So you get this luxury car or whatever kind of car, and you have this car note that you never had before, right?
Mhm.
And then, of course, with a better car comes a higher car insurance and all of the things that we fail to think about, the maintenance. Um, and so it go like that rabbit hole, it goes down that rabbit hole. And I think we we stop doing what we've done previously when we were better stewards, when we were making less, because we feel like I've got it. I've got a little more.
Mm.
And you forget the things, or not necessarily forget the things, but you get comfortable in where you are and you feel like I deserve this, I'm owed this, right?
Mhm.
And you don't remember to put that extra money, not to say that you can't buy yourself anything, but you forget to continue to be a good steward over what you have. It's easy to do. It's easy to do. How do we maintain a house? How do we keep our kitchen clean and then all of a sudden it's dirty, like filthy, like dishes in
Yes.
the sink for a week?
Mhm.
So it's the same thing is keeping those healthy financial habits that you've been doing, even if things change, even if you get more money. Motivate yourself. I mean, sometimes you just have to tell yourself, you know what? Yeah, I have this money. I've got an extra $500 coming in, or I've got an extra $100 coming in, or $50 or whatever it is coming in. Um, but let me not squander it off, you know. Let me not go buy these red bottom shoes today. Maybe save up for them instead. You know what I mean? It's keeping keeping track and keeping not track, but keeping those same habits that you've had before, even when things change.
And I think that's the hard part because you're right. I started to
Yeah.
think I'm making more money so I can go get a car now where I was on the bus. But like that with the car came the insurance. And then I was like, I can start shopping more. So it's like I didn't have a mindset of saving anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was saving because I realized my income wasn't that great and I needed something to fall back on. But when I started making more money, I'm thinking like, oh, I got enough money to cover if certain things start to happen for me. And I got out of that saving mindset.
But uh but then we don't, even when we make more money, we don't save more money. We And not to say again, because you said you got a car when you got more money, right? Which is
Mhm.
not a problem. I don't want people to think, oh, I can't do anything because I have more money. I just have to act like it doesn't exist. That's not what I'm saying. But what
Mhm.
I'm saying is allow yourself a budget. I know we don't like that B word.
Oh, we're
I
gonna
know we
talk
don't like
about
that B word,
that.
but you have to give yourself a budget, right? Put yourself on a budget and stick to it. But also plan. You can still get the car, you can still get the shoes, you can still get the purse, you can still get all the things, but you don't have to get it today. You can save for it so that you're still able to pay your bills, so that you're still able to save just in case something happens. Um, and I think we live in such a microwave instant not even a crock pot, and air fryer. We want it now versus the crock pot era where we had to let things slow cook and simmer and wait 6 and 7 hours. We want it now. And that's the biggest thing, is because we want it now, we're not willing to wait. And because we're not willing to wait, we're really doing more damage. We're
And
really
I,
doing more damage than anything else.
I agree. And I think that's why we have more credit card debt. And you know what I'm noticing? Credit card interest rates are off the hook. They 30%.
Because they know people. First of all, I was just talking to a lady at a credit union today. People don't even know the right questions to ask when they're shopping for credit cards. If they're shopping, sometimes you just get something in the mail, you're like, okay, they're going to offer me a card, I'm going to take it. But we're not even asking the right questions. We're not looking for the right things. We don't know if there's an annual fee. We don't know if there's a fee if we don't use the card. We don't know the APY. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
We're just getting it because they're offering it. So,
that's true.
yeah.
That's true. So we're going to take a break. Before we take a break, I know you have a planner.
Yes, I do.
To help us out, to help us stay focused, to help us be a a big steward over our small amount until God blesses us with the big amount. He can't release the wealth from the wicked to us yet because we're going to act just as wicked as the wicked act until we learn how to be good stewards and until we learn about money. Money is just like romance. We go blindly into love, never been taught, just feel our way, make our mistakes when we should just like with money, we just think it's to spend. We need to get into a save mindset, especially now with the economy, because as you can see, everything is high now. Everything is like us against the world. It's basically us against the world. And our income is shrinking, but our outcome is enlarging this territory.
Inflation is something else, isn't it?
Girl.
Inflation is something else. And so, yes, I did create a financial journal and planner. It's called Goal Getter. Um, and you can find it on Amazon or you can go on my website. I'll be sure to share those links with you.
You can share them
But
now if you want
oh,
to. Uh-huh.
okay.
Just to,
So you can go on my website. So my
mhm.
website is lplconsultingsolutions.com. lpconsultingsolutions.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at money underscore goal coach.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And so if we get the journal, what does it help us do?
I'm
Okay.
gonna I'm I'm gonna show you guys. This is my own personal one because why wouldn't I use my own product? Um, but this is what the journal looks like. And there is a calendar, there's worksheets in here. We talk about snowball debt, that
Mhm.
tactic of taking your smallest debt, paying that off, and then adding that plus your additional payment to the other debt and paying everything off really quickly. Um, what else do we have in here? We have our goal setting sheet. I love this sheet. So this is our goal setting sheet where we break down your goals and we talk about what your goals are. We talk about potential problems, potential solutions to those potential problems. So there's no excuses. And then we talk about action steps. So some things that you can do to help you reach your goal. Yep, some things that you can do to help you reach your goal. There's also some dates in there for progress. We have some monthly balance sheets in here. So
Oh.
our monthly balance sheets, I know the B word, we don't like it, but it is very important. And I don't want to jump the gun, but I'll go into why
Okay.
the B word is really important.
Okay. All right. So we're going to give you 60 seconds to say whatever you want to do. So audience, what I want you to do is put some questions in the chat. We're going to test Coach Loretta today. So put some
Ooh,
questions. Aha. Didn't know you had a quiz coming, didn't you? So we're going to test her
that's
today.
okay.
We're going to see
We're
how
gonna
quick she is on her feet. You know, she talk a good game. Let's see if she can walk that game. So I want y'all to put some questions that you may have about finances. And the second part of the show, we're going to talk about it just a little bit more. We're going to get deeper into what you're really
ooh,
here for because she is the money goal coach, not the house goal coach, but the money goal coach. She really wants you to hit your money goals. All right, so we're gonna give you 60 seconds. I'm gonna check on Facebook, and then later on before we end, we're gonna check back because some people probably got one finger typing, so it's gonna take them a minute to put the questions in. But go ahead and say
hey.
whatever you want to say for 60 seconds.
Ooh, okay. So for 60 seconds, let's see. I have a whole thing for everyone so that I wouldn't forget. So some things that I want you to understand, because people are like, well, what should I do? What should I focus on? Let's talk about it really quickly. Make a plan. I know it sounds easy. I know it sounds simple. We've heard it before, but guess what? There's a lot of us who don't do it. We do not make a plan. We talk a good game. We talk about the things we want to do, but we never take the time to sit down and write it down. Um, it's very important for us to write things down because we subconsciously work towards those things, whether you know it or not. Once you write it, your brain then takes that information that you're writing down and say, okay, now we're going to work towards those things. Another thing that I want you to focus on is after you write the plan, I want you to focus on balancing your income, your expenses, and your taxes. Easy, and your savings, right? How do I do that? You start saving. And if you are already saving, because I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm already saving money. Great, save more. Why should you save more? If you don't have at least $1 million in the bank, you're not ready for retirement. As of today, it takes 1 million for you to retire. And that's not even lavishly. That's just decent. That's just decent. So by the time I retire, it's probably going to be 2 million. So if you aren't there yet, you have things you can be working on. Let's try to balance that. Am I over my 60 seconds? I don't want to go over.
Oh, you're doing good.
Okay. Like, I want
Look,
to respect your time. I don't want to go over. So making sure that you are saving money. If you're not already saving, save more. I want you to also control your debt and spending. Again, I'm still talking about how you balance your income, how you balance your expenses, how you balance your taxes, and how you balance your savings. So control your debt and spending. Some people are like, oh, that's easier said than done. Make up in your mind, it's just a decision. Just like buying the shoes is a decision, just like going out to that overpriced restaurant is a decision. You have to make some big girl and big boy decisions on how you're going to spend your money. That means you need some self-control. And if you are a believer like myself, then you know that that's one of the fruits of the spirit and you should have self-control. But if you don't, that's something you need to work on. Cut expenses. Cut expenses by working to avoid overpaying or paying twice for items. Can't tell you how many times I've had clients sit in my chair and we are meeting and they tell me after we're done sifting through all of their expenses and their income, their budget, um, they've been paying twice for medical insurance. They've been paying twice for dental insurance. They've been paying twice for vision insurance. They've been paying gym memberships twice. We've got to stop overpaying, but you don't know if you don't take the time to do the B word. If you don't take the time to budget.
wow.
Yeah. I have
Wow.
more, but I can do it later.
Okay. Wow. That was a lot. When you said a million, that got my attention. That almost
Mm-hmm.
made my heart drop on the floor because I'm like, I was just thinking the other day, I said, I got about maybe 12 years to retirement and 12 into 1 million. My goodness, I'll be working until I'm 90 unless the Lord come down and do a miracle. So we got some questions already for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay,
I don't
so
know. We'll see. If I don't know it, I'll let you know. I'm
so
not going to pretend.
Annette says my bank's interest rate is 0.1%.
Okay.
For savings, I guess. I walk right out that bank. What's a good place to start investing if you don't have a lot to put in every week?
Great. So if you don't have a lot to put in every week, you want to get a high yield savings account or and I talk about this a little later on, you can get a CD. So if you have I think some places may let you start even as low as $100 or 300, but you can get a CD and your money will sit there and it will accumulate interest. You can actually go on bankrate.com and bankrate bankrate.com will show you who has the highest interest rates for CDs and savings accounts. Yep.
Okay, that's
Some
good.
of them are online. Some of them are also online. So uh, I think, oh, who was that? I'll have to go on there and check. I was just looking the other day. But bankrate.com, that's the place where I would suggest you start to look for different accounts that you can invest in. It's a little, all investments carry a risk, but it is a little bit more safe because you do know how much you're going to get back at the end of the term. So,
Okay. And you know what? Before the pandemic, my credit
mhm.
union actually had, if you put in $1,000, they will give you an interest. Your interest will return 1,100. And so I was telling somebody that I said they give you a whole 10%, and they was like, "Oh no, they don't. They actually gave me 10%." So it was a no-brainer to do that. So talk to if you're in a credit union. You never know. The lady just happened to suggest it to me. I didn't even know that. But
Absolutely. I think, but a lot of times we know we want to do something, but we don't know what to ask or we don't feel comfortable asking.
yeah,
Um, and it's to the person who is, they're not doing this on a regular day to day. They're like, I don't know where to start.
yeah.
Right. So,
Okay, here's another one. You got a few more.
okay.
One thing, this from Vanessa, one thing I have not been good at creating is a budget. I always practice paying for necessities before splurging. And I watch my monthly payments closely, but the idea of telling my bills how much it will get budget regardless never was a practice. What is your philosophy on living and guiding one's finances by a budget? But we talk about a budget. Um, we'll come back to this one.
I'm like,
Because we're gonna hit
ooh.
this, we're gonna hit this. So she said credit card rates have always been off the hook. They take advantage of our ignorance, yes, and our desire for immediate gratification. And I remember when credit, you had to have money to get credit. Credit wasn't
Mhm,
that you got it and then you paid it. It was that they gave you credit because they knew you already had the money. So things
mhm.
switched some kind of way. I don't know when, but things have switched up. Wait a minute, let me see if it'll let me go back.
I think that we I think that we forget that just like casinos are in the business to make money and
Uh-huh.
not give money away,
Mm-hmm.
credit card companies are in the business to make money. They know that the likelihood of you paying them back is, if it's not high, the interest rate it'll be higher, right? If it is high and you are more likely to pay them back, that interest rate you could negotiate a lower interest rate. But again, they're in the business to make money. I'm not going to say credit cards are bad, right? Credit
Mm-hmm.
cards, it depends on the person, on the credit card holder, right? So if you have a credit card, then my advice or something that I do, I can say that something that I do is I only use my credit card on things that I know I'm already going to pay. And I only have credit cards that have some sort of reward or point system. So I'm not going to use my credit card to go buy a pair of shoes if I wasn't already saving up to buy those pair of shoes. Um, I'm going to use my credit card for my utility bills, for my homeowner's insurance, for things that I already have money set aside to pay for, so that I'm not trying to figure out where this money's going to come from when that bill is due.
That makes sense. Why not earn points, get rewards back on your money? Because I
Mm-hmm.
had to, when I was in an accident, I had to pay them for my car. What I did, I put the money on my credit card. And so I paid it through my credit card. And I got all those rewards. It was like I made money off their money. So it's
Mm-hmm.
little things. You're right. It's little things. If you think you're gonna pay your bills anyway, so why not use a card to have rewards on it? That makes
And
sense.
and it'll help you build up your credit score at the same time. So it's a win-win-win. If
Hmm.
they're going to get paid their money back, and in return you're going to get some rewards you can use for gift cards or whatever, and you know
That makes sense.
you can't
Thank you.
lose.
You really can't. So wait a minute. I had here. Let me see. Um, okay. Here's one. It said, let's talk taxes. Married, no kids, husband is retired. I want to pay less in taxes. What would you recommend?
Ooh, so I am not a tax preparer or a CPA,
Okay.
but my something that I do, I'll say that, because I don't want any of you coming back saying, well, she told me to do. No, no, no. um Something that I do is I have contract. I'm an independent contractor. I have a 1099, and being a 1099 allows me to write off more things on my taxes. So I'm not saying just become a 1099 and write off a boat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying go buy a yacht and you can write it off because you're a 1099. What I'm saying is create opportunities that allow you to take advantage of the tax credits that are out there. So
Mm.
you
Okay.
can, I mean, if that were, if, and again, 1099, I mean, you can become a merchandiser for a company that maybe you only work for once a year. You can do DoorDash. You can do all of these little gigs that we see. Those are 1099 jobs. Those are independent contractor jobs, just meaning that you don't work for that employer, you work with that employer, and you're responsible for taking your own taxes. Again, that allows you to write more things off. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can start a business.
Yeah. And
You can start a
definitely,
business.
yeah, I do agree. That has helped me a lot with my taxes to start getting a refund back. So here's another question. Is living
Mhm.
on one income financial suicide in this economy if I ever want to retire?
Oh,
That's a
if
good one.
okay, that's a good one. I like that. Whoever sent that question, thank you. You can retire with one income. I would say that you may have to make some changes. And it all depends on how much you want to sacrifice and how much you're willing to change to retire comfortably. So, what do I mean when I say changes and sacrifices? I'm not saying buy cats up instead of ketchup. I'm saying, I'm saying, you may have to consider downsizing. Uh, you may have to do something that I did myself. I rented out my basement, and I had a nice amount coming in from renting out my basement to someone that I knew. Um, and so making those changes, you can move into a tiny home, where things are cheaper. And a lot of us aren't necessarily okay or comfortable with those changes, but there are things that you can do with one income to create passive income so that you can retire and live your retired golden years nicely. So are
Mm.
you willing? I guess my question to that person would be, are you willing to make changes? And with what you're making now, are you comfortable with going to your employer and asking for an increase? Are you comfortable asking for a different compensation plan with your employer? Are you comfortable making necessary adjustments and changes to make sure that you can retire comfortably?
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
I had a friend before she retired. She moved from her apartment to a co-op.
Hmm.
So that was a big difference. Her rent was like about $400 compared to it was like $800. And so yeah, you have to start like downsizing now. Like me, before I retire, I want my house to be paid off. So I don't have to worry about a house. No, I want a paid off car. I know maybe
Yeah.
some years down the line I got to get another car, but I'm going to look more at buying a cheaper car because I'm not going to be driving that much. And this is one
Right.
thing, I remember when I was in school, my teacher talked about, he said, once you retire, he said, some of your expenses do go down. He said, but some go up because you subscribe to more magazines, because you're at home. He said, you don't buy that many clothes. Some of us don't. Some people in retirement still are, they still are fabulous. I ain't mad at you. But he said, it's less expenses, the commute, the gas, the wear and tear on your car. So, you know, I found that to be interesting. So let's get into the second
That
part of the show.
depends. That
Uh-huh.
that depends because uh depending on the person and the situation, right? Because you can have more expenses if you have more medical issues. So we
Mm,
have to take that into consideration as well. Not saying that you won't have less expenses, but prepare for the unexpected.
oh
So
yeah. He said some of your expenses will go down, but
okay.
it's like, some things you have as expense now you won't have then. You shouldn't have then because you're not going to
Right.
work but yeah, medical is big. A lot of people at my job that have retired now, they delay retiring because of the medical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's huge.
that is
That's
huge.
huge.
Because you would think common sense when people retire, they need medical because they're older. And
Hmm.
you would think that would be part of the package now, but it's not. It's like Cobra. And for some people, Cobra is kind of expensive. But I found out too, a lot of my coworkers, once they retired, they said they got more money, of course, because of deductions and different stuff like that. And they say they were able to squeeze in the Cobra. It wasn't as scary as they thought it was.
Yeah, again, I feel like you can make those changes to accommodate those unexpected expenses.
Hmm.
It's just what are we willing to do? How far out of our comfort zone are we willing to go? Do you want to spend extra money on Cobra and
Yeah.
then make things a little tighter? It you can make it work. we can we can make it work.
So, the person
It's
said,
all
I
in your
am
comfortability.
comfortable living poor. I have no car payment, no cable TV. I work a job plus a side gig. I cook. I do all the things. I don't spend on clothes or anything. I still can seem to say much. Or maybe they say I still can't
Can't seem to
seem to
save
say
much.
much. I do tie.
Okay, so my question to that person would be, do you have a B word? Do you have a budget? Do you have a
Ooh.
budget? Because we have to really sit down and dissect where your money is going. I had a lot of people in my chair who's like, I get paid on Friday, and by Tuesday, I'm down to $20, or $40. But that's when I say, okay, well, we need to really sift through, like we're sifting flour through a sifter, and see where is every single penny going. And then that's when we determine, or where can we increase. Sometimes it's like, okay, there's no areas to change on the expense side. It's just now we have to create more income. What does that look like, and how can we get creative enough to make it work? So
Yeah, because there's so many ways to make money now. You just have to take the time and do
yeah.
the research and be diligent. So, all right, we're going to the second half of the
Okay.
show.
Because I'm like, oh, I got another story.
So why do people find it so hard to talk about their financial problems? I mean, thank you all that's in the chat. Y'all were very real, very transparent. One person
Yes.
says they said, "Come on, Loretta, tell the people." They say they've been a home-based entrepreneur, and so they know about like how it helps them with their tax write-off. So why do you think it's so hard for people to talk about their financial problems?
I think the same reason why it's so hard for people to talk about their personal problems, about addictions, about uh, different things that we go through as people. Pride, I think that's pride is like number one, right?
Yes.
People are like, oh, I don't want people to know my business. What happens in this house
Stays in
stays
his
in this
house.
house, right?
Yes.
So, and because a lot of us grew up in that, what happens in this house stays in this house, we take that same mentality that may have worked in that area, in that space for that time, and we apply that all throughout our lives. And so I think that pride is up there, but we also know that pride comes before the fall. And so we want to make sure that we're not operating in pride. But pride is one, fear is another. I think a lot of people are afraid to share what they're going through because they don't want to be judged, because they don't want to looked at a certain way. Shame.
Hmm.
Shame is another one. Like some people may be like, oh, well, you should be here by now. And so you feel that shame. That's another reason. Guilt. Some people feel guilty, like, well, I had it at one point. I don't know. So you feel that guilt. Some of that is embarrassment. Some people try to keep up with the Joneses and save face. And they're like, I don't want people to know my business. I'm not going to talk about my finances with my family or friends. Um, that's not me, though.
Yeah. But you know
My
what
family and friends know
you know what?
be
It's good
honest.
that you say that because I think about it like when we have been through something and we keep it
Mhm.
secret, but once we give a voice to it, it no longer has that power. So I think
Yes.
if we talked about our finances, girl, my finances jacked up. I owe
Yes.
this, I'm underwater in this car. And you're right, it's embarrassment because it makes you feel like you're not that smart. That if you're
Right.
smart, you're able to handle your money situation. But that's not true. Like you said, you got diplomats, you got geniuses, I'm quite sure, that are broke. Are dealing.
Geniuses.
Yes.
Yes. I,
So,
it's not, I think once we, the last thing I want to say before I move on into that is
yeah.
tradition. I feel like a lot of that is tradition. When my dad didn't talk to me about money, my mom didn't talk to me about money. We didn't talk about that in our family. So I'm not going to talk about that to my family or my friends. And so that was the last thing, tradition. But I think that the moment that we begin to give these things that we hide in our closets a voice, then not only does it show you who's really in your corner, right? But it also shows you who's going to help keep you accountable, right? People who are in your life for your best interest. A lot of times, if I say, hey, I'm on a budget, I can't spend X amount of dollars this week because I'm trying to save for this, then people who are around me who care for me genuinely, they're gonna be like, hey, Loretta, what are you doing? You can't buy that. You can't get that. You got maybe this, but you can't get that because you said you were trying to save for this or you were trying to pay off that debt. And
Mhm.
so that's what you want to do. That's why it is important to give what you're going through a voice so that people can help you remain and stay accountable. Community is important. Is important. We need that to thrive in a lot of areas, most areas of our lives. You can't do anything alone. And if you continue to not say anything, if you continue to not get help, you're going to continue to get the results that you've been getting. You got to do something different. What you're doing isn't working. So,
That's true.
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the B word. All right. Why do you think people believe that a budget is like restrictive? It's almost like it tells me not to spend what I can't do. It's almost like a parent telling you what you can't do. Give us some tips on how to look differently at a budget or to create a budget.
I'm, this is my favorite topic. Um, I'll say this. B plus B equals B in a lot
Mhm.
of people's minds. What am I saying? Why am I giving out this equation? Are we doing expressions or algebra? No. No. This isn't a math lesson, but it is. Um, B plus B equals B. Budget plus boundaries equals bad in our heads. It's a stigma. And so a lot of times we hear the word budget and we think boundaries. Oh, that means I can't do anything. That means I'm restricted. And we connect that in our brains as being something that's bad. No, no, it is a mindset. It is something you have to tell yourself this isn't bad. This is actually something that's going to help me propel to that next level in life. I have to have a budget. Businesses have budgets. If you don't, you should. But most businesses that are successful, they have a budget. This is how much we can spend for this every quarter or every year. They allocate funds specifically for those things, so they know this is how much we need to make, or this is how much we need to raise. If we're a charity and we're raising money for something, we need to have that money in the pot for this budget. So it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing. And it is a living, breathing document, meaning that it changes every month. It may change every 2 weeks. It may change every quarter. It may change every year. Uh, a budget is like a report card. That's what I tell people when I'm doing my workshops. I'm like, a budget is simply a report card. If you can think of a budget being a report card, meaning it's showing you areas you need to improve in, it's showing areas that you're already doing well in, and it's showing you where you can make a little progress in or some things you may need to tweak to be better for the next round of report cards, right? So if you put in it in your mind that a budget is simply a report card, it's just showing me how much I'm spending. It's showing me how much money I have coming in, and it's telling me what I need to do to change so that I make sure I have more money coming in than I do going out. That's it. It's not complicated. We overcomplicate things. It's not complicated. That's a
And you
budget.
Wow. You made it sound good, but you do get it's in your mind. Like for me, it's a block, like it's telling me what I can't do. And I think it comes from maybe when we were younger, that
Mhm,
how our parents or our household manage money. So when we get older, we like, I'm gonna get what I want. And I think it's for our generation because this generation here, they get basically what they want. Their parents will sacrifice to make sure they get. With us, we got a lot of no's. You can't. Do you
mhm.
got McDonald's money? And we like, we don't have no money. We don't even have pickles and ice. We don't have nothing. No, I don't have McDonald's. So you're not getting McDonald's. So it's a lot of stuff we didn't have that we were restricted not to have, but they said we couldn't afford to have. But the kids now they walk around with an iPhone, a
Mhm.
$1,000 iPhone in their hand. There's no
Not
way
my
we
kid. Not my kid.
but you know, us back then, we couldn't even walk around with anything that was worth $100. Shoes, $100. We couldn't even fathom that. So I think that's part of our mindset. But this is what I heard when you were saying a budget is simply a vision for our money.
Correct. It's a way to direct your dollars. That's what I like to say.
Yes.
If you think of a budget like a roadmap,
Uh-huh.
to help you direct your dollars, so you know, so you can't sit here and say, oh, I don't know how I'm working two jobs and I'm doing all the right things, but I don't know where my money's going. A budget is that blueprint that's going to help you see exactly where your money's going.
And
That's what a budget is.
it's like it gives you a vision. Like you said, it shows you where that money went. Because a lot of people do.
Absolutely.
I be like, I don't know what happened to my money. How even I'm looking at it on paper. I'm still like, I don't know how I moved from 800 to 300 just that fast. It's almost like I can't process it. But you're right. And then somebody else said a budget simply is telling you once you do this, then you can do that. Once you
Right.
pay this bill, take care of that, what you have left over, now you can see what you can do. So I think, like you said, it's a
Yes.
mindset shift. So before we close, give us three money mastering tips, right quick.
Oh, I gotta be quick. I can't take my time.
Yes, we only got like 4 minutes.
I have enjoyed this so much.
I know.
Um, okay, three money mastering tips. I have wrote them down so that I won't forget them because I don't want to miss out on anything for the people. So the first one is have a destination for your dollars. Have a destination for your dollars. If you're writing it down, let me know if I'm going too fast, but have a destination for your dollars. Understand where your money is going. Track your spending. You can start there. If you're not ready for the budget piece just yet, that's okay. Start off by tracking your spending. That's just writing down. You can get you a little notepad, keep it in your purse or your back pocket or the car, and just write down where your money is going. Every time you spend money on gas, grocery store, whatever, track your spending. Number two is keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road. What do I mean? I mean, stay focused on your money goals. Stay focused on your money goals. Try not to get distracted. We do that often. Try not to get distracted. Stay focused on your money goals. Pay down the debts and live within your means. That's all the same one. Pay down your debt and live within your means. Keep your eyes on the road. Number three, the last one, build, build, build. I want you to build your emergency fund. I want you to build your investment portfolio. I want you to build your retirement savings and be ready to make the sacrifices to do it.
All right. And
That's
on
all.
that note, could you give us a 1 minute closeout?
Oh, yes, I sure can do that. So, again, I want to leave you with a few things. I'm going to try to keep it down in 1 minute. I want to leave you with a few things. We already talked about making a plan. We already talked about balancing your income, your expenses, your taxes, your savings. We already talked about cutting your expenses. We want, I want you to also start saving for retirement if you haven't already. And if you have already, I want you to start saving even more for retirement. I want you to do it now because a lot of times we think that, oh, that's 20 years from here from now, that's 40 years from now. That time's going to go by blink of an eye. It's going to go by fast. So I want you to start saving for your retirement now. And I also want you to build a diverse investment portfolio. What do I mean? I want you to do stocks. I want you to do fixed deposits, which are CDs, like we talked about earlier. I want you to start investing in bonds, mutual funds, gold, real estate, you name it. Negotiate a higher compensation package with your employer. See if you can get paid a little bit more money. Bring some more value to the table so you can negotiate that. I also want you to create streams of income, multiple streams of income. Um, don't expect all of your eggs to come from the same hen. Don't expect all of your eggs to come from the same hen. Create some extra streams of income and avoid debt. Avoid as much debt as you can. That's the plan. That's the name of the game. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to come here and talk to you about finances. I hope that you learned something good. I hope that you learned something new, or that you were reminded of something that you already knew. Stop by and check me out, and hopefully I can come back.
Almost definitely. Did you give me your website? How to
Oh, yeah,
contact you?
absolutely. My website is lpconsultingsolutions.com. And you can find me on Instagram at money_goal coach. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/moneygoalcoach, one word.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Loretta. I thank you
You're
that
welcome.
tonight you gave us some tools for us to get started with, and you made the budget, the B word, not be so frightening to us, that we understand it's a tool that help us manage our money better. It's a tool that help us
Absolutely.
get to our goals. We cannot skip it. And if we skip it, it's like you said, driving without a map. And so you're going to be all over the place. You might make your destination, but you could have got there probably a little bit faster if you had that map. You wouldn't have went to Mississippi and then way over to California, if you had the right map. So I want us to think about, like she said, track your expenses first. So
Yes.
I'm going to take the challenge, y'all. I'm going to take the challenge of tracking my expenses. It's hard for me. I spend and then I backdate, like, okay, what do I got left? Which is just the opposite. I like the pleasure, then I go back to the pain. And that's what bills are to us, pain. Spending is pleasure, especially on the things that you like. I'm just being real and transparent with y'all tonight. If y'all went through my finances, y'all would probably be screaming right now. But sometimes some of the choices we make is survival, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you're single. It's based upon you surviving, you getting what you need if you own a house, you getting what you need if you're single and you don't have anybody that extra income. So everything falls on you. So we understand that sometimes you got debt because you had to survive. The car broke down. The refrigerator had to get a new refrigerator all of a sudden. That was my thing. So I just want to tell you, just be a good steward over the small that you have. It's not that you need more, because the more you need, the more you're going to spend, not the more you're
Mm-hmm.
going to save. It's just a mindset we have. That mindset is there to spend. Once you switch over to saving, you'll find out, oh, I had more money to work with. And that's what a budget will help you find out. Am I right? Where you can find that
Absolutely.
extra money to save. Because a lot of times we think we get extra money. The first thing we say, well, I'm going to pay this off. I'm going to spend, instead of saying, I'm going to save. So we gotta change our mindset. So thank you, Coach Loretta. Y'all make sure
You're
you reach
welcome.
out to her. Her website is in the posting section of this video. And of course, we want you to come back, because of course
Yeah.
we're gonna need you once again to tell us how to budget our money. So I'm gonna start tracking my spending. I'm gonna start tracking my spending. So
Do
all
it
right,
for
y'all.
7 days. Do it for
7 days.
7 days.
Okay, here's
Yeah.
the challenge, y'all. We're going to track our spending. That's it, for 7 days. We're just going to track
seven
our spending
days.
for 7 days. If you're up for the challenge, put in the chat. I'm going to track my spending for 7 days. So, Loretta, if they track their spending for 7 days, is there anything you have for them? A free consolation or something? 30 minutes, 15
Oh,
minutes or something?
yes. Okay. So if you track your spending for 7 days, I will give you a free 1 hour consultation.
Oh, 1 hour. Y'all
And
hear
yeah,
that? Okay.
and that's valued at $150. And then I can also, we'll see about doing maybe some gift cards too. I don't know, maybe a
Oh,
Starbucks gift card, or yeah, we'll see about doing some gift card raffles.
okay,
Yeah.
y'all. All right.
Good
If you in,
motivation.
put in I'm in. And so what we're gonna do, um, everybody know how to get in contact with me. You can inbox me or you can inbox Loretta Williams. You
Yep,
can become a friend. So to figure out how we're gonna do this, can they email you?
they can. So you can email me at info at lpconsultingsolutions.com. Again, that's info at lpconsultingsolutions.com.
Okay, I'm putting that in the chat, y'all. Consulting info at LP Consulting
Solutions.com.
Solutions. All right.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Let's
Ah,
see. Let's see who can do this. That's
okay.
gas. That's snacks. That's
Oh,
everything. Anytime
starting
you spend your
tomorrow.
money,
Starting tomorrow.
Amazon purchase, Temu, everything.
Oh, I'm so glad I purchased what I okay, I'm gonna go purchase everything I need tonight. And then it's starting tomorrow, y'all. Tomorrow. So I already did my Amazon shopping before I got on the call. Thank you, Jesus. So all right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this talk tonight. I really did. I really did. Thank you so much, Miss Loretta.
You're
So we about
welcome.
to
Thank
exit
you.
off Facebook. I want to thank you. Be back next week. I'm looking for coaches. If you're a coach, I want to interview you. So reach out to me. Last week I had 3 coaches. This week I have Loretta Williams all by herself, Coach Loretta. And so I'm looking for one more coach to interview. I just been led to showcase coaches' skills at the moment. So anyway, have a great and wonderful evening, y'all. We're signing off Facebook. I'll be back next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, everyone.